Let's add 2y over 5 plus 3y over 25. Denominators are not the same, so we want to find the LCD. And the least common denominator for 5 and 25 is 25. And we're going to convert the first fraction only because it's not in 25ths. So let's convert 2y over 5. We will multiply 2y over 5 by 5. Multiply the 5 to the numerator and denominator. 5 times 2y, we have 10y. So now we have 10y over 25 plus 3y over 25. Common denominator is 25. Bring together your numerators. 10y plus 3y. Add. And before we add, just remember that 10y and 3y are like terms. So we are able to add those terms together, because if we didn't have a y to one of the terms, we would not be able to add. So 10y plus 3y gives us 13y, and our common denominator is 25. We have 5 minus y over 20. And we're going to subtract 5 minus y over 20. So before we begin, we have 5, which is a whole number. And we want to make that 5 into a fraction by placing a 1 under it. So now we are able to find the least common denominator. And the LCD is 20. So we just need to convert the first fraction into 20ths. 5 over 1. What will we have to multiply 5 over 1 by to get it into 20ths? So we're going to multiply by 20. And 20 times 5 is 100. The second fraction, y over 20, there's no need to convert because it's in 20ths. So now we have 100 over 20 minus y over 20. Common denominator is 20. We have 100 minus y. So let's look at the numerator, 100 minus y. Now if you try to take this a step further and leave the answer as 99y over 20, that is incorrect. And the reason why it's incorrect, our numerator, we have a constant term of 100, we have a variable term of the negative y. They're not like terms. So we cannot subtract those two terms together. Now what we applied was finding the LCD, as well as having a common denominator and bringing together our numerators. And we're done. 2b over 5 minus 3 over 25. We're going to subtract 2b over 5 and 3 over 25. Here again, denominators are not the same. We want to find a common denominator. Not just a common denominator, but the least common denominator. And the least common denominator for 5 and 25 is 25. So we're going to convert the first fraction because it's not in 25ths. So we're going to multiply 2b over 5 by 5. So your denominator is in 25ths. So your numerator, 5 times 2b, we have 10b. So now we have common denominators. First fraction, 10b over 25. Second fraction, we have minus 3 over 25. Common denominator is 25. Bring together your numerators. And we have 10b minus 3. We cannot subtract the 10b and the 3 because they are not like terms. We have a variable term of 10b, we have a constant term of negative 3, and a variable term and a constant term would never be like, so we are finished. We're going to simplify. We have here 9x over 10 minus 1 over 2 plus x over 5. So in our denominators, we have 10, 2, and 5. And we want to come up with a common denominator, but the least common denominator, LCD. And the least common denominator for 10, 2, and 5 is 10. Therefore, we're going to have to look at each fraction and ask ourselves which ones will we have to convert. The 9x over 10, there's no need to convert because it's in tenths. But the 1 over 2, we will have to convert that fraction. And let's do it now. 1/2 into tenths, we have to multiply 1/2 by 5. 5 times 1 is 5. The third fraction, x over 5, we have to convert that into tenths. And we will have to multiply x over 5 by 2. 2 times x is 2x. So now all three fractions, you have a common denominator. Common denominator is 10. Bringing together your numerators. Now look at your numerators. We have 9x minus 5 plus 2x. We want to here add our like terms. Our like terms, we have 9x and positive 2x. Let's add those together. And 9x plus 2x, we have 11x. The minus 5, we're not adding that to anything. We're not subtracting that to anything, but it's part of the question, so we're going to bring it down. We have 11x minus 5 over 10. And just like the other examples that we've covered, a constant term and a variable term would never be like, so we cannot subtract 11x and 5. They're not like terms. We're going to add 2 over 5 and 3 over x. Denominators are not the same. We want to find the LCD. And the least common denominator is 5x. So we're going to convert both fractions into having a common denominator of 5 and x. So let's look at 2/5. What will we have to multiply 2/5 by to get into 5x? Well, 5 is already there in the denominator. To make it 5x, we're going to multiply the 2 over 5 by x. So 2 times x, 2x. Next fraction, 3 over x. We want that 3 over x to have a denominator of, converted to a denominator of 5x. So we're going to times 3 over x by 5. And 5 times 3 is 15. So we have here 2x over 5x, 15 over 5x. Common denominator is 5x. Bringing together your numerators, 2x and 15, we're adding those. And as we look at the numerator, 2x plus 15, they are not like terms, so we cannot add those together. We have a variable term and a constant term. They would never be like. So our solution, our answer, 2x plus 15 over 5x. Subtract 1 over 12 and 5 over x. We're going to subtract. Our LCD, least common denominator, is 12x. So we're going to have to convert both fractions into having a denominator of 12x. So 1 over 12 we want to convert. What will we have to multiply 1 over 12 by to have a common denominator of 12x? So we're going to times the 1 over 12 by x. And 1 times x gives us x, or we can say 1x or just x. The minus 5 over x, we're going to times that fraction by 12. And 12 times 5, we have 60. Now we have a common denominator, x over 12x, minus the next fraction, 60 over 12x. Common denominator is 12x. Bring together your numerators, we have x minus 60. And we're done.